Hi team. So it's going to be Tuesday by the time you're watching this, so happy Tuesday. I'm recording this Monday evening though. And Governor Inslee just announced that school closures will continue for the rest of the school year. So some of you, it might be the first time you're hearing this, and some of you may have talked to your families about this already. And I just kind of wanted to acknowledge that it's okay to feel really bummed about that. I do. I feel super bummed, and it's hard. It's not going to be super easy knowing that I don't get to sit with you guys this year and have us in our classroom community, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm here for you if you want to call and talk about it. You can set that up with your parents and have them send me an email. I just want you to know that I love you very much, and I'm thinking of you every single day. And we are still going to plan fun things for when the 5th graders graduate. We'll have our own thing once community is allowed to gather again. And we will celebrate you and all of your accomplishments. And we will have time to kind of have that closure together. So know that I'm thinking of you and that I'm pretty bummed too. And we're just going to get through it. There's no way out but through, right? Can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go under it. We've just got to go through it, and we've just got to feel it all, take the ups and downs, and be flexible, right? So, yeah, bummed about that news that I just received, and but happy that we have this means to kind of be together and get to experience the magic of Harry Potter together. I know it sounds cheesy, but it really does bring us all together, knowing that we're still sharing the same story and listening and learning together. So I look forward to this and cherish these story times even more, knowing that it's a time for us to kind of be together, even though we're not together. So we left off with Ron, Harry, and Hermione being at Hagrid's lodge, per se. And it's hard for me to remember because I recorded the video so many times yesterday trying to get Monday's video set. So I have read a couple pages into this, trying to get ahead, but we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to keep the video about 7 minutes again, and kind of keep that as the standard, especially since we know we will have plenty of time to get through the whole story. Okay, so let's see. Harry would have pointed out that trouble didn't come much worse than having slugs pouring out of your mouth, but he couldn't. Hagrid's toffee had cemented his jaws together. "Harry," said Hagrid suddenly, as though struck by a sudden thought. "Got a bone to pick with ya. I've heard you been giving out signed photos. How come I haven't gotten one?" Furious, Harry wrenched his teeth apart. "I have not been giving out signed photos," he said hotly. "If Lockhart's still putting that about—" But then he saw that Hagrid was laughing. "I'm only joking," he said, patting Harry on the back and sending him face first into the table. "I knew you hadn't really. I told Lockhart you didn't need to. You're more than famous without trying." "Bet he didn't like that," said Harry, sitting up and rubbing his chin. "Don't think that he did," said Hagrid, his eyes twinkling. "And then I told him I'd never read one of his books, and he decided to go. Toffee, Ron?" I keep skipping over this word. It's treacle or trestle toffee. I don't know what it is. So I've been skipping over it and just going with toffee. I don't know if it's a Harry Potter thing or a real thing. Someone please let me know if you know in the comments. "No thanks," said Ron weakly. "Better not risk it." "Come and see what I've been growing," said Hagrid, as Harry and Hermione finished the last of their tea. In the small vegetable patch behind Hagrid's house were a dozen of the largest pumpkins Harry had ever seen. Each was the size of a large boulder. "Getting on well, aren't they?" said Hagrid happily. "For the Halloween feast. Should be big enough by then." "What have you been feeding them?" said Harry. Hagrid looked over his shoulder to check that they were alone. "Well, I been giving 'em, a little bit of help." Harry noticed Hagrid's flowery pink umbrella leaning against the back wall of the cabin. Harry had reason to believe before now that this umbrella was not all that it looked. In fact, he had the strong impression that Hagrid's old school wand was concealed inside it. Hagrid wasn't supposed to use magic. He had been expelled from Hogwarts in his 3rd year, but Harry had never found out why. Any mention of the matter, and Hagrid would clear his throat loudly and become mysteriously deaf until the subject was changed. An engorgement charm, I suppose, said Hermione, halfway between disapproval and amusement. Well, you've done a good job on them. We've got a couple little pictures on here. We've got some slugs crawling around, some slug trails. Well, you've done a good job on them. That's what your little sister said Hagrid, nodding at Ron. I met her just yesterday. Hagrid looked sideways at Harry, his beard twitching. Said she was just looking around the grounds, but I reckon she was hoping she might run into someone else at my house. He winked at Harry. If you ask me, she wouldn't say no to a signed... Oh, shut up, said Harry. Ron snorted with laughter and the ground was sprayed with slugs. Watch it! Hagrid roared, pulling Ron from his precious pumpkins. It was nearly lunchtime, as Harry had only one bit of toffee since dawn. He was keen on going back to school to eat. They said goodbye to Hagrid and walked up to the castle, Ron hiccoughing occasionally, but only bringing up 2 very small slugs. They had barely set foot in the cool entrance hall when a voice rang out. There you are, Potter, Weasley! Professor McGonagall was walking towards them, looking stern. You will both do your detention this evening. What are we doing, Professor? Said Ron, nervously suppressing a burp. You will be polishing the silver in the trophy room with Mr. Filch, said Professor McGonagall. And no magic, Weasley. Elbow grease. Ron gulped. Argus Finch, the caretaker, was loathed by every student in the school. And you, Potter, will be helping Professor Lockhart with his fan mail, said Professor McGonagall. Oh, no, can't I go to the trophy room, too? Said Harry desperately. Certainly not, said Professor McGonagall, raising her eyebrows. Professor Lockhart has requested you particularly. 8 o'clock sharp, both of you. Harry and Ron slouched into the great hall in states of deepest gloom, Hermione behind them wearing a, well, you did break the school rules expression. Harry didn't fancy his shepherd's pie as much as he'd thought. Both he and Ron felt that they'd gotten the worst deal. Filch'll have me there all night, said Ron heavily. No magic. There must be about 100 cups in that room. I'm no good at muggle cleaning. I'd swap any time, said Harry hollowly. I've had loads of practice with the Dursleys. Answering Lockhart's fan mail, he'll be a nightmare. Saturday afternoon seemed to melt away, and in what seemed like no time, it was 5 minutes to 8, and Harry was dragging his feet along the second-floor corridor to Lockhart's office. He gritted his teeth and knocked. The door flew open at once. Lockhart beamed down at him. Ah, here's the scallywag, he said. Come in, Harry, come in. Shining brightly on the walls was the light of many candles and were countless framed photos of Lockhart himself. He even had signed a few of them. Another large pile lay on his desk. You can address the envelopes, Lockhart told Harry, as though this was a huge treat. This first one's to Gladys Gudgeon. Bless her, she's a huge fan of mine. The minutes snailed by. Harry let Lockhart's voice wash over him, occasionally saying, and right, and yeah. Now and then he caught a phrase like, fame's a fickle friend, Harry, or celebrity is as celebrity does, remember that. The candles burned lower and lower, making the light dance over the many moving faces of Lockhart watching him. Harry moved his aching hand over what felt like the 1,000th envelope, writing over Veronica Smelty's address. It must be nearly time to leave, Harry thought miserably. Please let it be nearly time. All right, we're going to pause it there because we're at the 10-minute mark, and I don't want my video to vanish. All right, I miss you. I care about you guys immensely. I love you very much, and feel free to reach out if you guys or your families need to chat about things and kind of see where we're going from here. I will adjust accordingly. I'm talking to all the other 4 or 5 teachers and teachers in the building and professors, principals, Holmes and Silver, to see where to go from here. And how we can keep your brains growing and you guys busy and learning and happy and healthy and safe. So, all right. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and I look forward to our next chapter together.